Welcome to Art of the Cart, where we bring you the best recipes and culinary tips straight from the D&W Fresh Market. I'm your host, Chef Britt, and I'm thrilled to be your guide on this delicious journey. I have Bernie with me today. She is our seafood specialist, and thank you for joining us today, Bernie.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so you are like seafood extraordinaire. You know it all.
I don't know about that, but...
Yeah. So a little bit about yourself. How long have you been in the business? And what all do you do for seafood?
I have been in the seafood world for about 33 years. And what I do is go around from store to store and basically work with the managers and help them improve their sales, hopefully, and their presentation and just general merchandising.
What drew you into the seafood world to start?
Because it was different.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that it was different.
Yeah.
I started out in the deli many, many years ago.
My realm, my baby.
Yeah. It was just unusual and different. And that's just when seafood departments were entering grocery stores in the Midwest.
Yes. So
I got in kind of from the get-go.
That's awesome. And a lot of times seafood departments are connected to a meat department.
Correct.
But I remember, some store layouts from way long ago, like they were different too when they first came about.
Yes, we were with the deli when I first entered seafood.
So that's also very different because you don't really see that nowadays.
No. And I think they're better suited with the meat department.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So what would you say, like in a seafood department in a grocery store, what are the most popular options that people are looking for?
Shrimp and salmon, by far, our two best sellers. And, obviously different varieties of shrimp, size, wild caught, farm raised, cooked or raw. And salmon, that's our most popular fin fish by far. And people are looking for either wild or farm raised specifically. Mm-hmm. I personally prefer the farm raised.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why?
Because it in general has a milder flavor.
Okay.
And the wild caught is gamey, in my opinion.
Yes. Okay.
But a lot of people are after the nutrients in the wild.
For sure.
But I think that you should eat what you enjoy instead of forcing yourself to eat something.
Definitely. Yeah. When it comes to shrimp, you said that's the most popular. What would you say is the most popular size?
Probably a little bit smaller, 4150s, only because the bigger the shrimp, the bigger the price.
Yeah.
So everybody wants to be economical. So the smaller ones, 4150s, are probably the most popular size.
When I have shrimp cocktail, though, those big, juicy shrimp and the spicy, like the St. Elmo's, cocktail sauce, that's winner, and fresh lemon. You got to have fresh lemon.
Definitely.
But that's winner chicken dinner when it comes to seafood for me and shrimp cocktail. Okay. I love it. So simple too.
Right.
And you can make your own cocktail sauce super easy.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Ketchup, horseradish.
Yeah, exactly.
Lemon juice.
Exactly.
I mean, it's so simple. And then you can kind of put how much spice you want in it.
Right.
So that's,
I personally, the St. Elmo's is a little much for me, but I do like horseradish, just not that much.
Does the seafood bought in the stores during Lent change, or does it stay about the same?
I'd say people during Lent, they branch out a little bit more, but our biggest sellers are still the shrimp and the salmon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they go more towards pollock at that time and different things like that?
Yeah. Pollock for fish fries. And cod, which is a little milder also. Swai is another good one. A lot of people haven't heard of, but it's a very mild, and it's a little bit on the sweet side at the same time. Yeah.
Cod's, I think, a good one for our family just because it is milder, and having the younger kids, it's a good one to introduce them to fish.
Yeah.
I actually made salmon the other night, and as a mom, I'm sitting there waiting, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're gonna ask me why are we having this for dinner? And I'm gonna get the backlash. I was ready for it, and then they start eating, and they're like, we love salmon, and I'm like,
really?
When
That's
did this
terrific.
happen? How? So then I was like, well, guess what? We're having salmon once a week now. This is good for you.
Oh my gosh, it's a superfood. It's so good for you. Yes.
Yeah. What are some of the lesser known seafoods that we sell in our stores that maybe people don't exactly know what they are?
Gosh, that's a tough one.
I look at, a mussel.
Yeah.
Is everybody going to know what to do with a mussel? Things like that.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
But the whole key to cooking seafood is hot and fast, hot and fast. And I personally don't like to doctor it up a lot. I like, a little garlic, and on my salmon, a little salt and pepper with butter, of course, because butter makes everything better. But yeah, I don't like a lot of different things on it. I like the natural taste.
Yeah. And when it comes to like mussels, clams, things like that, the biggest thing to know at home cooking is if it doesn't open,
yes,
it's not good. And I think that's one of the things is, as somebody new to trying it, buying it in the grocery store, bringing it home, if that doesn't open, then it's...
You pitch it, yes.
So you buy seafood. How is the best way to know that it is fresh?
Smell.
Okay.
There's hands down, that is the best way to know. Fresh salmon, particularly, should smell like watermelon.
Really?
It does.
Okay,
When it is very fresh, it smells like watermelon. And then it goes through another stage where it just kind of smells like fish, which it's still edible at that stage.
Because fish is going to smell like fish sometimes. Yeah.
And especially when you live in the Midwest, and getting it here and everything else. And then, of course, if it smells like ammonia, it's over.
Yes, it's done for.
Yeah.
So you buy this, let's just say salmon, because we're referring to that. I bring it home. What's the best way for me to store that at home?
In the refrigerator immediately. A lot of our customers will ask us for ice to put around their fish so they can get it home safely. But you want to put it in the refrigerator or freezer immediately.
Okay.
It's not like a steak where you set it out on the counter for half an hour before you cook
Come
it.
to room temperature.
Yeah.
We don't want to do that with our fish.
No.
And can I leave it in the bag
Certainly.
that it's given to me in?
Certainly.
At the store?
Yes.
Okay. And then to freeze, I freeze it and then I thaw it. I cannot freeze it again though, correct?
You can, but you increase the chances for freezer burn, and it really inhibits the taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better to honestly probably not freeze it at all.
Yeah, you are correct.
Yeah.
That is the best.
Right now, what would be the most in-season seafood?
We're approaching fresh salmon season, which is very exciting because a lot of people don't realize that any wild caught salmon that you get between October and March is all farm raised that's available. The wild is available, but it is either refreshed, which is a term we use in seafood, which means that it has been frozen at sea and brought back to land and then thawed. So it is served to the customer as what looks like fresh, but it is actually refreshed, as I said.
Yeah.
But you can get fresh farm raised salmon year round.
That's awesome. Looking for a fresh way to liven up your lunchtime favorites? Wonderful Halo's mandarins are here to add a burst of naturally sweet, juicy flavor to your meal. Whether you're mixing them into a refreshing chicken salad or tucking them into a pita for a bright citrus twist, Halo's brings the perfect balance of sweetness to every bite. And the best part? Halo's mandarins aren't just for meals. They're an easy win for lunch boxes, post-workout refuels, or even a boost of energy on your next hike. Plus, they're a great source of vitamin C, making them a delicious way to fuel your day. So whether you're upgrading your lunch or need a refreshing feel-good snack, grab some Halo's mandarins today. Sweet, seedless, easy to peel, and always a delicious win. I have to ask, in the world of social media, seafood boils have just had this explosion, I feel like. And so what have you seen selling because of that normally didn't so much before? Like crab legs, are those going a lot more now?
Well, crab legs have slowed down a little bit because they've gotten very pricey. But we actually sell 2 seafood boil kits that sell very well. One thing I've learned in the grocery business is that people like to make it easy on themselves to prepare dinner, which I totally get because I'm the same way.
So in the kit, does it have the seasoning and all of that, and you just warm it and go?
All you do is boil it and you've got dinner. Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
Very simple. Yeah.
A child memory of mine was revolved around a seafood boil because my dad would actually, me and my sister's birthdays are very close, but we would take one of the big pots and go down to the beach.
Yeah.
Cooler with all of our seafood, and we'd actually cook the seafood boil on the beach.
Oh, cool.
And it was just dragging the cooler and stuff up that sandy hill and down, you're oh my gosh. But once you're down, it was just those memories, and the seafood boil will always hold that memory in my heart, for
That's
sure.
great.
Yeah. What would you say is like the easiest way to prepare salmon?
The easiest way, in my opinion, is you always want to bake it hot and fast, as I said. And I did say bake, which is what I do with salmon. And I get my oven up to about 450, so very hot. And like I said, I just like a little salt and pepper and butter on my salmon. And pre-season that, put it in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes. And it's actually, the rule of thumb is 10 minutes per inch.
Okay. That's a good thing to follow, for sure.
But a hot oven.
Yeah. I also do cook my salmon in the oven as well, and salt, pepper, but we like to add just some dried dill to it.
Okay, yeah.
Dill, we love dill and grow fresh dill at home, so we put it on a lot of things.
Nice.
And then lemon juice. Like, I'm big on citrus on seafood, for sure. But patting it dry too is huge. Like, I always tell people, when you're cooking fish, make sure you're patting that dry before cooking it.
Yeah, the butter doesn't stay on well if you're not patting it dry first. Yes, you are correct.
I just see Bernie like adding all the butter to it.
Yeah, pretty much.
But butter makes it better, so that's okay. And then what about easy, like, you're a first-time shellfish cooker at home?
Well, first of all, when you buy shellfish from the vendor, you want to make sure that it is closed tightly because these animals are still alive. And as you cook them, they open up. And as you said, if they don't open, then you do want to pitch them. Yeah.
And steaming?
Yeah, steaming is probably the best way. Put about an inch of water in the bottom. And then I have like a little grate that goes in the bottom of the pan. And then the shellfish would go on top of that. Put the lid on it. And once again, very, hot and fast, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are some of the biggest mistakes people make when cooking seafood?
Number one, overcooking. Overcooking. I know, even when I was a kid, I was raised Catholic, and every Friday we had to have fish because during Lent, actually, we had fish every Friday regardless of the season. And my mom just cooked the heck out of that stuff. Ocean perch, she'd put it in the oven for half an hour. It'd start out this big and end up this big.
Yeah.
By the time it was done, and okay, here's dinner, kids. And it's no wonder I can't eat ocean perch to this
You're like,
day.
it's ruined forever.
Yeah. Overcooking is the biggest mistake people make by far.
How can people avoid overcooking?
Just watch it like a hawk. Follow the 10 minutes per inch rule. And I always check it when I pull it out of the oven. I cut it at the thickest part and take a look inside. If it's still translucent, then you want to put it back in the oven for just a couple minutes, like 2 minutes.
And the biggest thing, especially, being a chef, like, everybody needs a food thermometer in their house.
Absolutely.
Because a thermometer can just tell you this magic number and if it's done or not.
My significant other bought me one for Christmas a couple of years ago, and I love that thing, a digital thermometer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Makes it so easy. So I know a rule of thumb is like 145.
Yep. Fish is 145.
Yep. So, rule of thumb, and especially that kind of covers your bases to get that to that temp. I remember I was 12 years old. It was the first time I ever cooked shrimp. And I thought until I was about 16 that I didn't like shrimp because I cooked it for a half hour.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like dried up, shriveled, and I was like, oh, I don't think I like shrimp anymore. But nope, I just overcooked it. What would you say are the best pairings? I know, the seasoning world has just exploded on seafood.
Our biggest selling items that are value added or flavor added, basically, are the garlic varieties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other kind of recipes are your go-tos at home when it comes to seafood?
I'm not embarrassed to tell you that I do buy value-added seafood sometimes. We have some encrusted tilapias that we sell that are very, very good, that all you do is pop them in the oven. I'm fond of that. And I do like shrimp very much.
Okay.
And having that in different recipes, shrimp scampi.
There's your butter again.
Yeah.
Shrimp scampi with all the butter,
exactly.
right?
That must be why I like it so much. Yes. Yes. And the other things that have... I'm not a big fan of mussels myself, but I know that paella is very big.
Yeah. And one of kind of our life hacks at home is, the in-store, in produce, the salad kits that have the dressing and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a citrus one. And so we'll do cod tacos, and I'll just get that kit, shake that up, put it on top of the tacos. And there's a weeknight dinner that's super easy and quick.
That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can I make informed decisions when I'm buying seafood?
A lot of manufacturers' packaging has labels on it that tells you that it is sustainable, and many of them have the QR codes on them as well. So you can take a picture of that and go to it online to check out what the story is behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do I find out more about where I'm buying it from? So if I'm buying it behind the glass, like that, is that information provided for me then?
Absolutely, yes. On the tags, the price tags in the case, not only does it have the country of origin, which means where that fish was processed, it does not necessarily mean where it was caught.
Okay.
But where it was processed is what the country of origin stands for. And then it tells you on the label also whether it is wild or farm raised.
Yeah. And just in watching some of these shows, I mean, they're going out for a month.
Yes.
And catching fish. I mean,
Exactly.
it's amazing. It's crazy.
And that is exactly why there's so much refresh product on the market, because the boats go out for a long period of time, and it's much safer to freeze the fish immediately and bring it back to shore and thaw it out, as opposed to trying to keep it fresh for 30 days.
Yeah. So the other thing too, when it comes to shrimp, that always gets brought up is, what is the back vein of the shrimp?
Sort of like the intestines. Yes. And all the shrimp that we sell actually is deveined. Whether you buy it shell on, shell off, cooked, raw, all the shrimp that we sell for the Spartan Company is deveined.
There we go.
Yeah.
Because I know that's a big one that gets brought up to me all the time.
Does
like, oh, yeah. And I'm like,
oh.
And if it does happen to have it, I just take a little paring knife and go around the
Very
back.
easy to remove.
And it comes right off. Yeah. Super easy.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that you want to set us straight about buying seafood in the grocery store, or tips and tricks about picking, buying seafood, anything kind of to follow up?
Well, once again, our biggest question in the store is probably, is it wild or farm raised? And it always says, not only on the price tag of the fresh fish case, but on every package. It's a law that they put on that package, whether it is farm raised or wild, and also the country of origin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it has to have that information.
Yes, it's a law. Yes.
Okay. And what would you say if I'm new to seafood? What should be the first thing that I would go try?
Salmon is a good first choice. Yeah. Whenever people ask me about salmon, I always tell them even a farm-raised salmon, which you don't think has enough nutrients in it because you prefer the wild caught, but that is better than a hamburger any day of the week. It's better for you, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, Bernie, you have given us all the information about seafood. I really appreciate it. So I kind of like to do a little something fun at the end, but ask kind of like 3 random questions, and you just kind of give me the answers, the first thing that comes to mind, so we can get to know you a little bit better. Do you like cilantro?
Love it.
Okay, so that's right. Some people taste soap, some don't. So you're a fan of cilantro. Would you rather ride a bike, ride a horse, or walk for the rest of your life?
Well, I'm a big walker, but I think riding a bike is more fun. So I would have to choose biking.
Biking.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. And if you could give up one household chore forever, what would it be?
Dusting. I don't have to think twice about that one.
Laundry's got to go in my world.
Really?
The 3 kids.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Gracie's
Okay.
is, 5, so all of her clothes are only about this big. So you have one load of Gracie's clothes. I mean, that's like 100 items. Like those are all tiny.
Yeah.
It's a lot of laundry. But yeah, dusting.
Hate to dust. Hate it.
Well, I really appreciate you and
you
coming
for
hang out
having
with me. And I hope we get to talk soon. And thank you for giving us all the information on seafood.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Of course. Thanks for tuning in to Art of the Cart. Please subscribe, comment, and leave a review. Don't forget to visit D&W's website for products and resources mentioned in this episode. Until next time, happy cooking.